Yo, what's up, guys? Teacher Polov here, and today we are reacting to Germany. We're learning a little bit about the German geography and history. This is from Geography Now with Bambi. Let's take a look at this. This is a request from Susan, who says Geography and History about Germany. Enjoy. Let's go.
All right. Lederhosen, Schnitzel, beer, bratwurst, order, bread and beer, complicated history beer, no humor, EDM, and gummy bears.
Did he say beer like 10 times? Let's listen to that song again.
All right. Lederhosen, Schnitzel, beer, bratwurst, order, bread and beer, complicated history beer, no humor, EDM, and gummy bears that will kind of like give you diarrhea, but it's like worth it. Ugh, those are such horrible stereotypes that every German is so sick and tired of hearing. Want a gummy bear?
So Haribo is German? I didn't know that. I thought it was British or
everyone,
something.
I'm your host, Barbie. So we've conquered Belgium's castle, jumped through Denmark's lagoon.
Oh, his name is Barbie. Did I say Bambi? You know, somehow that's even worse. But it's Paul. His name is Paul. He's just like me.
Danced through France's forest, and now we've made it to the final boss of the EU, Kingpin Germany. Level 1.
Final
Begin.
boss. Germany, the final boss.
Ah, you know why I'm smiling. Yep, Germany has a lot of territorial anomalies. We'll get into that in a little bit, but first, Germany is located in central Western Europe, bordered by 9 other countries. Don't forget Little Luxembourg, with small coasts on the North and Baltic Seas, which they own about 50 small islands. Now, Germany, like the US, is a federal republic which has 16 smaller states, or Bundesländer, each with its own constitution, 3 of which are...
That's why you call it the Bundesliga.
Has 16 smaller states, or Bundesländer, each with its own constitution, 3 of which are cities, the capital Berlin, Hamburg, and Bremen, which is actually kind of like 2 cities, including Bremerhaven on the coast, but they kind of act like one entity. Fun side note, Lower Saxony is actually geographically situated further north than regular Saxony. Now let's jump into the fun stuff. Now, we already discussed the Jungholz Quadrupoint and the Vennbahn railway enclaves with Belgium and Austria. However, there's a few more. The entire town of Bussingen am Hochrhein is surrounded by Switzerland, whereas part of the Constance is cut off by the Rhine River and surrounded by Switzerland. However, immediately across the river, a small patch of empty land on the German side actually belongs.
Wait. So you can just cross the border into Switzerland from Germany? That's nice. I mean, just accidentally just walk into Switzerland.
Switzerland, however, immediately...
Or maybe your house is divided by 2 countries. Maybe that's a thing, right?
Across the river, a small patch of empty land on the German side actually belongs to Switzerland. Finally, they split the island of Usedom with Poland in the north. Germany is interesting because every state in the country has its own distinct culture, dialect, history, food, traditions. I mean, Bavarians will be quite drastically different from Schleswig-Holsteiners. Mecklenburg-Vorpommern will be different from...
Isn't that a flag of Estonia?
Germany is interesting because every state in the country has its own distinct culture, dialect, history, food, traditions. I mean, Bavarians will be quite drastically different from Schleswig-Holsteiners. Mecklenburg-Vorpommern will be different from Saarland. This all has to do with ancient and recent history. Basically, in the quickest way I can summarize this, Germanic tribes, Roman wars, Charlemagne, 3 kingdoms. This guy marries an Italian, creating a whole new mess called the Holy Roman Empire, made up of 300 smaller separate kingdoms, states, and dukedoms, which had nothing to do with Romans. Teutonic Knights, Brandenburgs became Prussia, Habsburgs became Austrians, Lithuanians and Poles made their own thing, whereas the Hungarians joined the Austrians. Wars, battles. Napoleon comes over and messes everything up. And finally, German nationalism surges, and in 1871, Otto von Bismarck creates the first proto-German unified state. And then they're all like, oh dang, we came late to this game. We gotta scramble for some colonies. And that's how all of these countries at one point spoke German. Oh, and also keep in mind, like 300 years before this, a German...
Was that Namibia?
And that's how all of these countries...
That was Namibia. Oh, interesting. So is this before or after it became Southwest Africa? Because I know the Dutch took over as well in Namibia. That's nice.
At one point spoke German. Oh, and also keep in mind, like 300 years before this, a German banking company obtained colonial rights to Venezuela for like 20 years. They were looking for the lost city of El Dorado. So technically, you can kind of say Germans colonized the Americas, but it wasn't like a nationalized conquest thing. Fast forward even more, and then you get World War I, the monarchy ends, Treaty of Versailles, they lose land, Nazis come in, World War II, Germany splits in 2 for about 40 years, and then finally, we get the Germany we have today. East Germany...
I have visited Berlin. I've seen the Berlin Wall, whatever is left of it, right? And it's an interesting place to be where it's full of history and full of knowledge.
consisting of these states is today still quite different from the rest of Germany as it was first occupied and influenced by the Soviet Union. They are generally not as well off economically as the rest of the country, as you can still see the blocky Soviet-style buildings sprawled throughout the regions. In fact, the city of Berlin was split in half, and the west side was actually an enclave of West Germany, only accessible by train and highway. You can even see from a satellite image the divide. East Berlin still uses the yellowish tinted sulfur vapor light bulbs, whereas the west still uses fluorescent and mercury arc white tinted light bulbs.
That's interesting.
Now, the funny thing is, although Berlin is
And
the
you can
largest
see
city in
that
Germany, the busiest
you can see that from above. That's so interesting. It makes a nice feel.
mercury arc white tinted light bulbs. Now the funny thing is, although Berlin is the largest city in Germany, the busiest airports are actually Frankfurt, Munich, Dusseldorf, with Berlin Tegel ranking at number 4. Otherwise, some top notable landmarks and spots would be the Brandenburg Gate, the Valhalla, Cologne Cathedral, the Westminster Church, the tallest in the world, the Berlin Victory Column, and hundreds of castles all over. The most notable one probably being Neuschwanstein, the concept behind Disney's Cinderella Castle. Germany also has over 400 zoos, more than any other country in the world, and of course everybody knows about the...
But then again, a lot of things from Disney comes from the Brothers Grimm, right?
Castle. Germany also has over 400 zoos, more than any other country in the world.
I've been to the zoo,
about the
Berlin
Autobahn,
Zoo.
the highway system, in which if you see this sign, it means there's no speed limit, and it's like that for a huge portion of the roadway. And no wonder, considering how vast and wide those cultivated countrysides can get. Time for level 2. Okay, think of it this way. In Germany, the more down you go, the more up you move. Basically, Germany lies on the Atlantic shelf in the north that starts with the mudflats in the North Sea. Seriously, this island right here is accessible only for a few hours by foot until the tide comes and floods everything. Then everything just kind of creeps up into the Alps in the south by Bavaria and Baden-Württemberg, with the highest mountain, Zugspitze, located right along the border with Austria. Kind of like France, Germany is filled with a vast irrigating network of rivers like the Spree, Elbe, Weser, Rhine, and of course, the mighty Danube that starts here. About a third of the land is arable and another third is woodland, and after millennia of civilization, Germans have cultivated the crap out of their country. Most agriculture, of course, happens in the North Flat Plains and the central regions of the country, which is, by the way, kind of like Europe's tornado alley. Due to its position sandwiched between the Arctic blasts of Scandinavia and the moist, warm jet streams of the Mediterranean below, Germany can be an atmospheric war zone in the summer. There are more tornadoes on average in Germany than any other country in Europe. Speaking of flat
now that is something I didn't know. About the Disney castle, I said, oh yeah, because I remembered, Disney is highly influenced by Brothers Grimm and German, but that I did not know. That's the first time. I didn't know you guys had so many tornadoes. That's crazy.
Farmland. Germany is the world's largest rye and hop producer. Germans abso-freaking-lutely love their bread.
They love their bread.
There are over 300 different kinds of bread in the country, more types than any other country in the world, and almost every meal incorporates some kind of slice or small bun or Brötchen of bread. Gluten-free? Nein! Germans are heavy meat eaters, specifically...
You guys don't have gluten-free? Is that offensive to ask for gluten-free bread?
In pork. They basically know every possible way to cook a pig. Over 50 different types of sausage exist alongside schnitzels, rouladen, sauerbraten, Schweinsachse, and at a big party you might find Spanferkel. Beer reigns supreme all over as the third largest consumers of beer after the Czech Republic, even their president has no problem with public intoxication, and Austria. Germany is world renowned for their beer, which by the way follows the Reinheitsgebot rule in which they are only allowed to use water, hops, malt, and sometimes yeast. Nonetheless, about 1,300 breweries exist, pumping out over 5,000 brands. The oldest continuously existing brewery in the world, started by Benedictine monks in 1040 AD, can be found here. Germany takes the environment very seriously, and for the past 2 decades has been going on a major green revolution. As of today, they have the largest installed solar power capacity, and green infrastructure practices like home installed turbines and solar panels have seen a huge surge in the past 10 years.
That is awesome, because the fame that Germany has is that it's kind of like an old-fashioned country. You guys don't take cards, you prefer cash, but for you to have like solar panels and be advanced in that specific area is very interesting.
Home-installed turbines and solar panels have seen a huge surge in the past 10 years. Forests dominate the southern regions where the landscape gets hillier and mountainous, the most famous one being the Black Forest or the Schwarzwald in Baden-Württemberg. Deer, bears, boar, foxes, badgers, and the national animal, the eagle, can be found thriving in these parts. Nonetheless, economically, Germany is known mostly for their exceptional engineering and...
We need to check out German wildlife also. We've been reacting to a few wildlife videos.
thriving in these parts. Nonetheless, economically, Germany is known mostly for their exceptional engineering and industry production. Companies we've all heard of like Volkswagen, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Audi, Telecom, Nivea, DHL, Bosch, Adidas!
Is that how you say it? Nivea?
Adidas! Puma! Yeah, it's kind of like the whole Biscoito Bolacha thing from Brazil. Remember? Well, we have mudflats, tornadoes, pork, beer, mountains. All that's missing is people. Level 3.
So, from Brazil, biscoito bolacha depends on where you are, and people think it's biscoito, others think it's bolacha. It depends, really. So I didn't know you guys have that also, Adidas and Adidas. But that's pretty cool. Hey, Crowsmar, thank you for joining. Guys, we're live on Twitch. Come join us.
Fun little side note, in Germany, this is 3, not this. Now, if the EU was
I know that because of Inglourious Bastards. Have you ever watched Inglourious Bastards? That got everyone killed.
family, Germany would kind of be like the dad who got out of rehab, reconciled with his wife and kids, and is taking his new life very seriously as he is haunted by the demons of his past every day. First of all, the country has about 82 million people and is the most populated in the EU, second most in Europe after Russia, and has the 4th largest nominal GDP in the world. About 80% of the country identifies as ethnically
A
German,
lot of people.
12% other Europeans, mostly Polish, Italian, Dutch, and so on. Turks make up about 3.5%, Asians at 2%, and the rest are made up of other groups like Africans and Americans. Also, they use the euro, they use the C and F type outlets, and they drive on the right side of the road. Germany is without a doubt a global powerhouse. It is the strongest economy in the EU and makes up about 16% of the union's population. It's the third
Is it stronger than the UK? I thought, well, never mind.
largest exporter and importer of goods in the world. After the United States, Germany is also the second most popular global migration destination. Germany experiences a high standard of living, tuition-free universities, if you get accepted that is, a mostly government-subsidized universal healthcare system, about a quarter is still privatized, and state pension for retirement at age 65. Now when it comes to language, things get a little tricky. Each state kind of has their own type of German. However,
Oh,
to
you
get by,
reacted
most
to the
Germans learn how to speak
dialects.
Hochdeutsch or High German, which is the standard
Hochdeutsch.
dialect. The European Charter, however, protects the minority languages of Frisian, Danish, Romani, Sorbian, which is like a Slavic-based language used along the Czech-Polish border, and Plattdeutsch, or Low German, which has similarities to
Plattdeutsch.
Dutch and is typically used by the Amish and Mennonite communities across the world. In terms of regional distinctions, though,
Interesting.
Germany is kind of divided into 5 cultural areas: Rhineland, East and Mitteldeutschland, Norddeutschland, Baden-Württemberg, and Bavaria. Rhineland is on the west side and has a culture
We have learned a lot about Bavaria because apparently Bavaria is where all the different traditions come from. Like Oktoberfest, like what is the name of that Christmas monster? Susan, you can help me. I forgot. Kram something. You know. Help me out.
Deutschland, Norddeutschland, Baden-Württemberg, and Bavaria. Rhineland is on the west side and has a culture somewhat more influenced by France, more Catholics. Carnival celebrations are huge out here. East and Middle
Interesting.
Germany was the part that used to be its own country for 40 years as it was influenced by the Soviets. Sorbians can also be found here too. Northern Germany has a coastal sea culture that identifies closer with Denmark and the Netherlands. They are also known for being kind of quiet and reserved. Baden-Württemberg has an interesting Swabian culture where they speak a dialect so thick that only about 40% of it is intelligible to other Germans. And then you have Bavaria, which is where the Americanized, perpetuated stereotypes
That's
about
what I'm
Germany
saying.
came from, with Lederhosen, Dirndls, half-timber, beer houses, and cuckoo clocks. For the record, Germans are sick of those stereotypes. It's like saying all Americans are cowboys with guns and horses. Speaking of
That's what I was trying to say. I know Bavaria because of all the stereotypes. It's like when you say, oh, Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. You know, Brazil is much more than only just one place. And I understand the feeling here. Germany is much more than just Bavaria and stereotypes. Obviously, it still is Germany, but it's more than that. Obviously, it is still Brazil, but it's more than Rio. I understand that.
stereotypes. Some of the stereotypes in Germany include things like Saxons being very indecisive, Berliners are always bragging about themselves, Swabians are stingy, Bavarians drink too much, Hessians talk too much, Holsteiners don't talk enough, and so on. Words differ from regions too. For example, in High German, you would say Auf Wiedersehen, but in Bavarian, you would say Fiat die Gott. In Kölsch, you would say Tschüss, and in Rhineland, you might say Ajus. And there's so many compound
Ajus.
words that get really long and complicated, like Rindfleischetikettierungsüberwachungsaufgaben Übertragungsgesetz. This is because
Wow,
many
he
words
got
are
that right.
mehrdeutig, or ambiguous words that are kind of elongated to give off an extensive meaning. Germans have very vivid imaginations and make up words for everything. Like my favorite word, Backpfeifengesicht. Not this time. By the way, for the record, this
What is that? I didn't read.
like my favorite
A face in need of a slappery or punch. In English, I like the expression. You have a very punchable face. So yeah, a face in need of slappery. Oh man, that's nice.
Word Backpfeifengesicht. Not this time. By the way, for the record, this letter makes a double S sound. However, spelling reformers have
Fußball.
tried to decrease the usage of this letter in recent years, which has led to some protests. Germans also love dubbing everything from foreign media into German. Some like
That's
this, some
nice.
don't, but either way, it's here to stay. About 60%.
And that is one of the reasons I think that The Sound of Music it didn't really do well in German speaking countries like Austria, for example, because of the dubbing. At least that's my theory. I don't know.
Everything from foreign media into German. Some like this, some don't, but either way, it's here to stay.
Fußball.
About 60% of the country identifies, at least nominally, as Christians, split between Protestants and Catholics. Germany was even the birthplace of the Protestant Reformation, split from the Catholic Church by Martin Luther. Otherwise, the rest are mostly agnostic or irreligious, with a noticeable community of Muslims, mostly from the huge Turkish and Middle Eastern communities, at about 5%, as well as a few Jews, Buddhists, and Hindus rounding up the remainder 1%. To kind of get a feel of what it's like to be German, you kind of have to understand where
Are there a lot of Turkish in Germany? I have a question, which I saw in some places. Kebabs. I've had a lot of German doner kebabs. Which one do you prefer? Is it better in Germany or in Turkey? Or where does it come from? Like, that's a question I have because I saw like iShowSpeed also had that question. But I know it might be very controversial to ask that. But I like the German doner kebab, and I don't remember having, well, actually Turkish food. I've had Turkish food. But anyways, that's not the point. Just asking what you guys like, what's the story there?
they've come from. After World War II, they kind of had a lot of work to do. However, it wasn't until the mid-50s and early 60s that the Wirtschaftswunder, or economic wonder, happened, to which almost everybody got to work. Basically, this guy envisioned and implemented a social market economy combined with free market capitalism alongside socialist policies that established fair competition in a welfare state. GDP increased by 80%, investments by 120%, labor forces were utilized to the maximum. Things started to get better. In Germany, all children are corralled into general public schools until age 10, when they are given the option to enroll in 3 different types of middle schools. Gymnasium, geared towards focusing on higher linguistic, mathematic, and science fields for universities. Realschule, a middle ground type of school. And Hauptschule, a school that is geared towards helping kids that seem to show promise in specific vocation or trades.
Oh, that's
Germany
nice.
also has the largest
So you guys have very good public schools, right?
geared towards helping kids that seem to show promise in specific vocation or trades. Germany also has the largest music market in the EU and the 3rd in the world after the US and Japan. They
Rock.
love preserving their heritage and culture through music and art. In fact,
Opera.
there are around 130 national orchestras, mostly supported by public
Classical
money,
music.
and artists get a 50% reduction in health insurance through a special type of offer in the legal system. One
Oh,
thing
that's
that still kind of
nice.
supposedly maintains itself in Germany is the mindset of Vergangenheitsbewältigung. Totally butchered that, which kind of translates to a lingering sense of guilt from the past. Germans have reportedly some of the lowest levels of national pride, and unless if you're at a soccer game, chances are you will almost never see anyone holding a German flag or waving it in any kind of like patriotic setting. It's weird, but it's kind of how things are.
You monster!
They've made great strides to move on from the past. Nazi flags and Mein Kampf are incredibly illegal items to own in Germany, and they even have a rule, the Volksverhetzung, which basically says you cannot talk trash by denying the past atrocities. Some people say this infringes on free speech, others say it's good because it solidifies truth. Otherwise, some notable Germans throughout history include Charlemagne, although he was a Frank, but I guess it kind of counts. Albrecht, Dürer, David Friedrich, Gutenberg, Bach, Beethoven, Carl Benz, Albert Einstein, although Americans would like to claim that he moved to the US and became an American. Johannes Kepler,
Of
Johann
course they
Wolfgang
will.
von Goethe, Friedrich Schiller, Michael Schumacher, Alex von Humboldt, and of course
Schumacher.
Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels co-founded Marxism. But one thing Germans do best would have to be diplomacy. To this day, the German passport holds the most visa-free nations out of any other country in the world, just
Really?
beating Sweden. Therefore, you can kind
Wow.
of conclude that Germany kind of knows how to relate to people. Let's find out how in the final round, level
You can
4.
travel anywhere. I know the Italian passport
Germany
is
knows how to
strong
make
too.
friends. They have over 220 diplomatic missions abroad and over 350 honorary consuls and have an incredibly high position of authority in the EU. Their closest African friend would probably be Namibia. As a former German colony
Namibia.
way back
Told
in the
you.
19th century, Namibia held on relations, and to this day, German is still a recognized language in Namibia. Germans have been supporting and sharing ties both economically and ideologically for over a century. India and South Korea are really close friends in Asia. India supported both East and West Germany during the Cold War, and after reunification, they were like, woohoo, even better. And Germany is to South Korea what Japan is to France. They love to piggyback off of each other's ideas and cultures, especially in the
That's
automotive
nice.
industry. Many South Koreans were sent to Germany after the Korean War to work abroad and study, and Germans have
In the coal mines, we saw that in a few movies. We saw it being mentioned as well. It's nice to learn this history. Germany and South Korea.
of industry. Many South Koreans were sent to Germany after the Korean War to work abroad and study, and Germans have been growing in fascination with visiting South Korea. The US is probably the closest ally outside of the EU. About 30% of Americans claim German heritage, and after World War II, the Marshall Plan allowed the US to give post-war aid to Germany, which helped kickstart the economic recovery. Germany was a key figure in the formation of the State of Israel after World War II, which after the Holocaust left an obligation to invest in the
Wow.
building up of a Jewish community. Turkey is probably the closest Middle Eastern ally, as the Turks make up the largest Asian demographic in Germany, although many of them may or may not also identify as Kurds. But since Kurds don't have a state of their own, they usually go under Turkish passports when immigrating and are documented as such. Their best friends, however, would probably be literally all their neighbors. The thing is, Germany is kind of like Bosnia and Herzegovina, in which, by default, they kind of get friends based off of the regional alliances. Bavarians get along with Austrians, Baden-Württembergs get along with Switzerland, East Germany has good relations with the Slavic countries, the Rhine states love Belgium, Luxembourg, and France, and the North side loves the Netherlands and Denmark. France, though, is kind of like the trophy wife of Germany, as the two
trophy
have had
wife.
an angry start, but then eventually fell in love and worked together beautifully. France is like the beautiful, flashy spokesperson for the EU that stands in the spotlight as Germany stands in the background, managing all the money and logistical work. In conclusion, although Germanic peoples have existed for thousands of years, an actual unified German state didn't appear until kind of recently, and the brief time that they've been around, they've kind of gone through some of the most intense, world-revolutionizing historical events possibly imagined. Yet, they've come out working hard and building their way up to become a world superpower. You gotta give it to them. There's something about the Germans. And with that, final boss level complete. Stay tuned. Another African state
Senegal.
Germany has ties to, Ghana, is coming
Oh,
up next.
Ghana. Wait, what is the Senegal flag then? Oh, it's the vertical of this. It's so interesting. The Senegal flag is the inverted Ghana flag. That is my bad. Okay, pretty interesting to learn about Germany and see that Germany is not only the stereotypes, as every country, none of the countries are the stereotypes they have, but it's really nice to learn actual things about Germany. Of course, this was a very fast video. Germany has so much history and it was very fast, very, very fast, but it was pretty cool to learn a little bit more about it. Thank you so much to Susan for sharing this, and also for everyone who's on the chat right now, in the chat showing me a few things. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Let me know, guys, if you want me to react to anything else. Thank you for showing us here in the community. And guys, go over to Buy Me Coffee to request a video if you want to. I will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.